Hey, what's up you guys? Sonic1245 here. If you guys saw Sally's video, you guys know what this one is about. This one is about Laughing Jack. Now, if you have, if you just ate, or if you did something where you had candy or anything that you can eat, please stop watching now. I'm gonna grab my water bottle, because in case I start to feel some stuff going into my mouth, I kind of want to swallow it down, because this story is very graphic and gory. I mean, I'm not feeling great right now, because I don't really want to read this, but kind of have to. Yeah. So, literally, as you guys know, Creepypasta is something that happens to someone that changes their life forever. The weird thing about this one is, Laughing Jack is actually not a person. Laughing Jack is something that comes into the story. Laughing Jack, I don't even know what happens. I got so sick I couldn't even keep reading. So, Laughing Jack, you guys will see what he looks like in the thumbnail. It's Christmas Eve. Snowy 1800s, London, England, in a small house at the edge of the town. There lived a lonely 7-year-old boy named Isaac. Isaac was a sad child, with not a friend to his name. When most children were spending time with their families and eager looking forward to opening their presents that were placed with care beneath the beautiful decorated Christmas tree, little Isaac spent most holy of his nights in the cold, dusty attic room. Isaac's parents were very poor. His mother was a strict crow of a woman who stayed at home and schooled Isaac. His father worked for long hours at the London harbour to support his family, although a large portion of his earning went to purchasing and consuming copious amounts of alcohol. At the end of his shift, sometimes he would come home drunk after being thrown out of every bar in London and shout at his beloved wife, Isaac's mother. Occasionally, it would escalate to violence, and he would beat her savagely. Then when he was done, he forced himself upon her in a drunken sexual rage, and it so happens this particular night was one of those occasions. Isaac just remained quiet, quivering beneath his soiled bedsheets until the screams and loud bangs subsided. Once the poor frightened Isaac was finally able to fall asleep, he'd dream of what it would be like to have a friend to play with, so maybe he could laugh and be happy, like other children of London. Luckily for little Isaac, this Christmas Eve marked a big change in his abysmal lonely caught the attention of a guardian angel, who then crafted a very special gift for the sad little London boy. As the sun rose on that Christmas morning, Isaac opened his eyes to find a strange wooden box sitting on the floor of his bed. With eyes widened in awe, he stared at the colorful handcrafted box, wondering who had left it. He wasn't used to receiving gifts, especially toys. Well, little Isaac did have ones he found abandoned in the street or washed up in the gutters. Isaac scooted up to the floor of his bed in front of the mysterious box and picked it up with both hands. The box was beautifully painted in color styles with the carvings of happy clown faces on the other side. There was a tag on the box that simply read, "For Isaac." On the top of the box was engraved text. Isaac squinted as his eyes sounded out the words, "Laugh in Jack in the Box." He paused. Laughing Jack in the Box? Isaac heard of a Jack in the Box, but never a Laughing Jack in the Box. His mind spun with curiosity as he grasped the box, the metal crank. Isaac turned the crank, and the song "Pop Goes the Weasel" chimed in with the rhythm cranking gyrations. As long as the scene became line in it, Isaac sang along in the final verse, "Pop goes the weasel," but nothing happened. Isaac let out a sigh. It's broken. He placed the back box on the edge of his bed. He shuffled across the small dusty room to his dresser, where he changed out of his spoiled sleepwear and into his usual tattered clothes. Suddenly Isaac heard a loud rattling noise come from the bed behind him. He spun around to witness the wooden box violently shaking. Then without a warning, the top of the box swung open, and a parade of colorful smoke and confetti bellowed out. Isaac rubbed his eyes in disbelief what he was seeing. As the smoke cleared, there stood a tin-filled, multicolored clown man with bright red hair and swirly rainbow-colored nose and feathery shoulders. and sat on top of the raggedy, colorful clown outfit. The Technicolor clown spread his arms, excitedly announced, "Come on, come one, come all, whether big or small, to see the best clown of them all, the one, the only, Laughing Jack in the Box." Isaac flew up. Who are you?" he asked. The colorful carny stepped down from the bed with a happy grin. "I'm glad you asked. I am Laughing Jack, your new friend for life. I'm magical. I never get tired of playing. I'm a whiz at the accordion. I adapt to develop to your own changing personality. In other words, whatever you like, I like." Asa looked up at the mysterious clown man. We're friends?" he stuttered. Jack looked at the boy while clocking his eyebrows. "Friends? We're best friends. I was specially created to be your not-so-imaginary friend, Isaac." Isaac's jaw dropped. "You know my name?" Jack let a whimsical laugh. "Of course I know your name. I know everything about you. So now our introductions out of the way, how would you like to play a game of I Spy?" Isaac grinned from ear to ear. "Really? We can play games? I'd love to." Oh. He paused. I can't. I have to go downstairs to see my mother for homeschooling and chores." His smile faded into look into his mind. Jack placed his hands on Isaac's shoulder with a warm smile. "It's okay. I'll be waiting right here for you when you get back." Isaac's smile returned as he looked down at his new friend. Just then, he heard his mother's shrill voice coming from downstairs. "Well, I gotta go. I'll see you after I'm done. Okay, Jack?" he said as he headed down the door. Jack smiled. "Absolutely, kiddo." "Oh, and Isaac?" Isaac looked back to Jack, who gave him a wink. "You should wear that smile more often. It suits you." Isaac grinned happily and turned and walked out the door. All day, Isaac told his mother about how amazing and colorful the clown man who came from the magical box had appeared at the foot of the bed. His mother, however, did not believe a word of it. Finally, he persuaded his mother to follow him up to his room so she could behold Laughing Jack for herself. And they walked up the stairs. Isaac swung the door open. "See, Mother? He's right." Isaac paused and scanned the room that contained nothing, neither magical dancing clown man, nor mysterious wooden box. Isaac's mother was not amused. She gave Isaac a glare so menacing it made his knees weak and his stomach sick. "But, Mother, he was..." Okay. Isaac's mother delivered onto him with a hard smack across his face. His eyes began to tear up and his lip began to quiver as he could feel himself about to break down. "You stupid, innocent child! How dare you lie about some such child idiocy? Who would want to be a friend with a useless worm such as you? You shall remain in your room for the rest of the evening, and shall receive no dinner." Why is she talking like that? Who cares? She's in London! What do you have to say for you ungrateful Welch? Isaac managed to swallow a knot in his throat in order muttered to reply, "Thank you, ma'am." His mother glared down at him for a moment before leaving his room in disgust. Isaac knelt over burying his face in his side of his bed. Streams streamed down his cheek as he began to weep. "What's wrong, kiddo?" a voice called out. Isaac looked over to the edge of the bed where Laughing Jack was suddenly sitting beside him. Where were you?" Isaac muttered. Jack ran his hands through Isaac's hair to comfort him. As he softly replied, "I was hiding. I can't let your parents see me, otherwise they won't let us play anymore." Isaac wiped a tear away from his eye. "Look, kiddo, I'm sorry to hide, but I'll make it up to you because tonight we can play games and have tons of fun." Jack smiled. Isaac looked up at his vibrant pal and silently nodded as a smile began to form in the corner of his mouth. That night, Laughing Jack and Isaac played so many fun games. With the wave of his hand, Jack made all of Isaac's tin soldiers spring to life and march around his room. Isaac was amazed as he watched the toys move around on their own. Then Laughing Jack and Isaac told each other spooky ghost stories. Isaac asked Jack if he was a ghost, but Jack explained that he was more of a cosmic eternity of sorts. At the end of the night, Jack reached into his pocket and pulled out an assortment of delicious candy. Isaac was in ecstasy when he popped the first colorful tree into his mouth. It was the first time he tasted something so sweet. Isaac had so much fun and laughed so hard that night that things seemed to finally be looking up for little Isaac. at least until the incident that occurred 3 months later. It was pleasantly warm and sunny in London that day, which was a bit of a rarity. So, with the help of a certain not-so-imaginary friend, Isaac was able to finish his chores early, so he was allowed to go outside and play for a bit. Things started simple enough. The duo were back behind the house playing pirates when Isaac spotted a neighbor's cat sneaking into their garden. "We got an enemy spy off the starboard bows," Isaac yelled, captivating the fantasy of an imagination. "Yo-ho, let's call him. I'll get him, Captain Isaac," explained the first mate, Jack, and basically hearted the pirate accent. Laughing Jack's arms stretched out across the garden and snatched the unexpected feline, who began to struggle and fight viciously. "Don't let him get away, Jackie, or I'll make you walk the plank," Isaac indicated. Jack's grip on the cat tightened. His arms grew and extended like anacondas, wrapping themselves around the wild feline. As it struggled for dear life, Jack's arms kept squeezing the animal, pressing the air out of its lungs. At the once dear house pet's eyes began to bulge out of their sockets, and came a loud snap. Jack quickly released the creature from his grasp as his lifeless, flurry husk settled around the ground. There was a hushed silence between the two who observed the cat, now twisted and mangled corpse. The silence was finally broken by an uproarious laughter coming from Isaac. "Ah ha 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 ha! Wow, I guess cats really don't have 9 lives. Ah ha ha ha!" Isaac exclaimed, nearly teary-eyed from laughter. Laughing Jack began to chuckle as well. "Yeah, but won't you get in trouble if your mother finds your neighbor's cat dead in their garden?" Isaac's laughter quickly subsided. "Oh yeah, you're right. I'll just throw it in the back. I'll throw it back into the neighbor's yard." Isaac panicked as he grabbed a nearby shovel and scooped up the broken cart canvas before lobbing the fence back in the neighbor's yard. They quickly went back inside and up to Isaac's room. About an hour later, it came. The ear-piercing squawk of Isaac's mother shrieking his name from downstairs. Neither Jack or Isaac said a word as he crept down the stairs alone to face whatever horrible fate was coming to him. Jack could hear much yelling from downstairs, but couldn't make out what was being said. After about 30 minutes, a teary-eyed Isaac ascended the stairs back up to his room. "Well?" Jack asked nervously. Isaac just stared at the ground as he spoke. I tried to tell her it was you who hurt the cat. She didn't believe me. Said you weren't real." Jack frowned, knowing this was all his fault. Isaac used his sleeve to wipe away his tears. "I'm being sent off to boarding school. I'm leaving tonight, and you can't come with." Laughing Jack's face turned to shock. "What? I can't come? Where will I go?" Isaac said, pointing. Isaac said nothing, but pointed over to the beautiful colored box where his friend had originated. "Back in there. But I won't be able to get on until..." Jack paused. Isaac looked up at his only friend with tears streaming down his face. "Jack, I promise I will come back for you as soon as I can." Jack looked at the box, then back at Isaac. "I'll be right here waiting for you, kiddo." Jack smiled. A single tear ran down his cheek. He walked over to the box, and with a puff of smoke, he was sucked back in, unable to be free until once again opened. That night, Isaac was sent off to boarding school. For the first time, Laughing Jack felt what it was like to be lonely. Even when trapped in his box, Jack was able to see things going around it. So each day waited for his friend to return, and each day grew older and dustier. Laughing Jack's one purpose was to be Isaac's best friend for life, and now he waits day after day, month after month, to reunite with a special friend. Isaac's parents still lived in the house, but never came up to the upstairs room. The only time they made their presence known was when Jack could hear them fighting. Still, Jack's life became one of solitude, loneliness, and disappointment. As years went by, Jack's once bright, vibrant colors began to fade into multicolored blur of pitch black void and stalks of white emptiness, trapped all alone, eternal and hopeless. Alright, so this is where it starts to get a little bit gory, so if you don't want to hear this, click off and there'll be another video for you later. Or just watch one of my other videos. 13 years passed until the night Isaac's father came home, practically drunk, and got into an argument with his wife, as per usual. Things ecstatically to physical violence once again. However, this time she didn't get back up. Isaac's father had beaten his wife to a dead, bloody pulp, and was sentenced to hang at the gallows next day. With both parents dead, this meant that now 20-year-old Isaac eritted the dusty house he spent the early half of his childhood. Laughing Jack was quite surprised when he heard his old friend's footsteps walking up the stairs to the attic room for the first time in 13 years. However, this was not the reunition Jack hoped for. Isaac looked different. Not only was he older, but he also seemed poised and an odd, grim look on his face. No longer was he the hopeful, curious young boy Jack first met all these years ago. Jack eagerly awaited Isaac's releasing him from prison. He had waited for so many years, but still Jack's box sat there untouched and unnoticed on the shelf in the corner of the room with all the other dusty unwanted knickknacks. Isaac had completely forgotten about his friend and dismissed some sort of early childhood fabrication. Surprising, this made Laughing Jack feel nothing. He was hollow. 13 years of Wayne and disappointment left the multicolor clown void of sorrows and self-pity. Jack remained in his box, colorless, without emotions. And the next day, Isaac went off to his job as a upholder, doing furniture repairs for good people of London. Jack waited in captivity. Hours later, a drunken Isaac returned home and stumbling up the stairs to his room, but this time he had a friend with him. It was a lady friend Isaac had picked up at the bar earlier that evening. She was beautiful with flowing blonde hair. I don't even know how to say this. Blue eyes, and the smile that can make her heart melt. Laughing Jack's attention was drawn to Isaac's guess. Who is this? A new friend? Why does Isaac need friends? I thought I was Isaac's only friend. Jack thought to himself from within the hellish confinement. Isaac and his lady friend sat down on the bed and chatted about life in London. Isaac made a joke about the weather, and they both laughed. Laughing Jack hissed in envy over Isaac's new friend. Isaac and the girl looked deeply in each other's eyes as they leaned in for a kiss, locking with a passionate swirl of tongues in one another's mouth. Jack was perplexed at the strange display of affection, for he had never seen kissing before. As the kissing grew more intense, Isaac ran his hand along the girl's smooth thigh and up her dress. However, her guest just brushed his hand away. Isaac was persistent, though. Once again, he ran his hand along her smooth thigh and up her skirt, this time placing her hand upon her silky undergarments. The woman took a deep, great displeasure with Isaac's sexual advancements, then pushed Isaac before her, delivering a hard smack across his face. Isaac's eyes darkened as he glared at the woman. His once drunken passion turned into a booze-filled anger. The woman's heart sped up as he saw Isaac's face boil with rage. Stupid whore, Isaac yelled as he smashed his fist in the girl's face. Laughing Jack's eyes widened, witnessing the long streaks of red liquid gushing from the girl's nose. What game is this? He thought, his eyes burgeoned to such violent strikes. Isaac finally clutched the girl's wrist with one hand and tore her panties off with the other. The terrified girl tried to fight back, but Isaac was overpowering her. He roughly fondled her breast before savagely gripping her hair and forcing his tongue down and sobbing the young's throat, who responded by chomping down as hard as she could on Isaac's tongue. Jack watched with wide and curious eyes. His old friend released her playmate and clutched his mouth as it filled with warm red blood. The frightened girl fell to the bed and dropped down on the floor. As she scurried towards the exit, Isaac quickly launched forward, and she was able to catch her fleeing plaything by the end of her dress. Reaching back, his widened lead candlestick off the nightstand behind him, with all of his might, bashed the back of the woman's head, which burst open like a ripe watermelon. The blood splattered across the room as the girl's body convulsed to the ground in several seconds before going completely still. Blood was everywhere. Some droplets even managed to get on Laughing Jack's box, who was very much enjoying the show. For the first time in 13 long years, a smile began to creep across Laughing Jack's face. At the end of a sudden, a chuckle escaped his cold lips, then another, until Jack was cackling and howling with laughter from inside the sealed box. What a wonderful, frantic game. Fascinating game, Jack thought as he watched the motionless girl's golden hair flow with red blood. An adrenaline began to mellow Isaac, realizing to dispose of the body. He picked up the girl's lifeless corpse and plopped down on the bed. Then he left the room, closing the door behind him and locking it before leaving the house. He returned almost a full day later and re-entering the room, bringing a metal garbage can and a bag of unholy tools from work. Then he cleared everything off the wooden desk on the wall of the opposite side of the door, then dragged the bed with the bloody corpse into the middle of the room. This is not only Isaac's room to work, but it also gave Laughing Jack a front row seat to the whole spectacular. Jack watched as a big, unfading grin as Isaac played his new game with the spoiled corpse. Sorry, this is like really hurting my eyes. Once Isaac was all set, he got to work. First, he dumped out the concept of the big black tool bag on the work table behind him. As an assortment of knives, hammers, pliers, and other tools now lay before him. His first pick was carved a something knife, which he used carefully to skin the body. The skin was placed on the racks to be stretched out and turned into leather. Once that was put in place, then Isaac used a handsaw to saw off the arms and legs and head, disturbing home several families of maggots in the process. After filling the garbage can with bleach and other vile chemicals, he submerged the limbs until the meat was stripped off the bones. Isaac fished the bones out of the soupy corpse juice and placed them on the work table. Then in the cover of night, brought the trash can outside and dumped the rotten remains in London sewer to be swept away into the harbor. For the next 3 days, Laughing Jack watched with wonderment as the inspired Isaac crafted the once human anatomy into a armchair abandoned. The fumen was made into the back legs of the chair, while the tibia was the feet still attached to the corpse, was made into the front chair leg. A wooden frame was the base and backing of the chair. However, the rim was crafted using the spinal column. The arm bones were used for the arm of the chair and fastened the place by some ribs. Now the leathery flesh was sewed on to the seat and the back of the chair, and the golden blonde hair was braided into the lining on the base. Atop of the armchair, from the hell sat the skull that once belonged to the girl who had golden blonde hair, that sharpened eyes and smiled that could melt hearts. Isaac was quite pleased with his work, and Laughing Jack was too. Laughing Jack too was impressed by the old playmate's profound creativity. After that night, Isaac never touched another drop of alcohol again. He was now postponed much more rabbit thirst. In the following weeks, Isaac made several improvements in his little workshop of horror. He removed the mattress from the bed and put a row of thick wooden planks in its place, and then fastened an arm-leg restraints to the bottom and the sides. This would mean he would be able to entertain his guests for long periods without them trying to rudely escape attempt. Isaac nodded, and the only final thing before playing another gruesome party, he worked on it for weeks straight, hand-carving it out of wood. After the coat of white paint was applied, Isaac's creation was complete. It was a wooden mask, resembling something one would wear to a Vietnam masquerade ball. It had a furrowed brow along the troll-like nose. It would allow him to strike fear in the heart of his beloved guest. With the new face completely and his room transformed into a bloody murder nest, it was finally time for Isaac Lee Grossum to bring home a new playmate. The following night, Laughing Jack watched as the masked Isaac Grossman stomped up the stairs, carrying with him a large burlap sack with the newest guest within. He dumped the bag out on his torture bed, and out popped a bound, gagged, very frightened young boy, probably 5 or 6-year-old. Oh my god. Isaac quickly unbid the boy's brain, held him down as the restraints in his hands and feet to the steel bed frame. Tears streamed endlessly down the boy's helpless face as Isaac laced out a tool on his workbench. Isaac returned the welding pair, the few rusty pliers, and wasted no time, and slid the bottom jaw of the pliers under the boy's fingernail, and on the right index finger, and clamped it tightly. The boy's eye widened, quivered, and began to mutter along his gag, begging Isaac to let him go. Isaac smirked and bent down the pliers backwards, painfully prying his first fingernail off. The boy screamed through the gag, and within agony the wooden boards. His fingers began to gush with blood. Isaac moved to the boy's middle finger, firmly grasping the nail with rusty pliers. Once again he jerked the pliers back, but this time the nail tore off only halfway. The boy yelped in pain, his fingers twitched and shot with blood. Clamping the half-peeled nail, Isaac gave another yank. The nail tore, but not without taking a good deal of skin tissue with it. Even Isaac was a bit rebuffed at the painful strike, unlike spine Laughing Jack, who was cackling with joy at the disturbance of actions and watched within the old dusty box. Isaac returned to his workbench and swapped the pliers for a large iron hammer, then made the way to the foot of the torture bed, where with one hand held the boy's left leg and raised the hammer high above his head. The boy cried and pleaded for mercy through the dirty gag. Then with all his might, Isaac slammed the hammer down the boy's bare kneecap, shattering the bone into gravel with a loud crack. The boy convulsed in pain, with shrill screams muffled through the cloth gagged tightly to his face. As the child struggled with intense pain, Isaac placed the hammer down the wooden bed, returning once to the workbench, where he equipped himself with a long, sharp knife. Without delay, he began carving the words "useless worm" into the child's quivering chest. When he finished, the boy barely conscious, Isaac knelt down and whispered in the boy's ear, "This is what happens to rotten children who make nasty faces at people." The child's eyes filled with tears. One final time, as it began to carve his skin, the boy's face began to carve the skin of the boy's face, but to Isaac, surprising, the boy still clung to life. The multiplying child just stared up at Isaac with his big round eyes, which filled Isaac's black hair with rage, hatred. "Even without a face, you're still ugly, little shit. You're still a little ugly shit." Isaac shouted and picked up the hammer from the foot of the bed and began to bash the poor boy's skull in. He smashed it over and over until there was nothing but a bloody crevice and the masked flesh pouring out with thick red blood and oozing out chunks of brain matter. From across the room, Laughing Jack gleefully observed the giant final, which laid upon the exception quite wonderfully. Literally, he kidnapped a boy! How far am I recording? 28 minutes. This is going to be a long video. Isaac's next guest, with a blind old woman who had invited over some tea. It took almost 5 minutes to realize the chair was sitting on a crafted using human remains for another 6 minutes to find the stairs only chopped down, following them from the screen of the loom. Isaac decided to end the cruel joke with a simple ice pick through the eye sockets. After that, he brought over a little girl whom he force-led broken glass before using the stomach as a punching bag. As the weeks went by, more unlucky souls met their end in Isaac Grossman's attic, and the mad Grossman's personality became more dark and satanic. Laughing Jack's personality followed suit while rotting within the dusty box, until one very close December night, the rusting nails that were holding up the shelf of forgotten knickknacks finally gave way. The whole thing plummeted to the ground. Isaac heard the loud thud from downstairs and decided to climb up to the attic to investigate. He walked across the blood-stained wood floor on the attic over to the fallen shelf. Isaac brushed aside the trinkets and broke in the crash when he finally came across Jack-in-the-Box from his childhood. Isaac barely recognized the old tattered box as he picked up and blew off some of the dust. Then, for whatever nostalgia, decided to grasp the box with the rusty crank and began turning it. A horribly off-key Pop Goes the Weasel crank from the worn-out box reached its climax. Isaac sung along the final verse, Pop Goes the Weasel. The top of the box swung open. Nothing happened. It was empty. Isaac expected as much as he tossed the old box in the garbage with the broken knickknacks. After the mess was cleaned up, he went and opened the door to go back downstairs. But it was stuck. Isaac pulled hard, but the door wouldn't budge. Just then, he heard the most horrible, raspy voice coming out from behind him. Isaac! A cold jolt ran down Isaac's spine, and the hairs on the back of his neck stood up straight as he slowly turned around. All the way across the room, by the garbage, stood a nightmarish, laughing Jack. He was completely multichrome. His mangled black hair hung down in twisted locks. Sharp, jaggedy teeth decorated his twisted grin. His arms hung down like rag dolls, and rustily long fingers scraping the floor. Then, with the bone-chilling, raspy voice, fetish crown spoke. How nice it is finally to be free. Is it to be finally free? Did you miss me, Isaac? Isaac was paralyzed in fear. But I thought you weren't real, imaginary. Isaac stuttered. Jack replied with a long, horrifying crackle. Oh, I'm quite real, kiddo. In fact, I've been waiting for such a long time for this day to finally come, when I can play with my best friend for life. One last time. Before Isaac could reply, Jack's long arms stretched across the room, wrapping around Isaac's leg. The twisted clown began to pull him closer, dragging him onto the old wooden torture bed. As Isaac's fingernails scraped along the floor, ignoring the restraints. Jack was swiftly grabbed by 4 3-inch long iron nails from the workbench and pressed them straight through of Isaac's hands and feet, nailing him to the wooden torture bed. Isaac growled in pain as he fuck you, you goddamn clown-nosed freak. Laughing Jack just chuckled as he forcefully held Isaac's head in place, straddling. If you can't say something nice, don't say it at all. Jack reached for a long, crooked fingernail. Reached his long fingernail in Isaac's mouth, firmly grasping his tongue, stretching it out as far as it could go. The clown then reached back and grabbed a long, sharp knife from the table and slowly began to slice through the meat of Isaac's tongue. Once lobbed off, Isaac's mouth began to overflow with blood. Jack responded by shoving a small cylinder metal tube through Isaac's throat to act temporarily a breathing hole. At this point, Isaac was already in great pain, and the eye clenched shut to avoid seeing the sickening horrors that would perform upon his body. Come on, it's no fun if you don't watch, Laughing Jack playfully, but Isaac kept his eyes shut. Laughing Jack said, Suits you. Suit yourself. Jack then forcefully opened one of Isaac's eyes and reached his black arm and took out something long, pointy fishing hooks from the workbench. Slowly, Jack punched the sharp end of the hook through the top of the eyelid, straightening through the bottom of the eyebrow and out the top, permanently pinning it open. And he took the second one, punching it through the bottom thing, and blah 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 blah. Jack repeated the process on the other eye before the long, serious, sharp metals hook made Isaac didn't miss out on any of the action. Laughing Jack took the same knife they used to